When the water is really cold, the only thing you have to do is jump.
Crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious.
If I seem a little tense, it's because I am. I'm really nervous. I have no problem talking on a microphone without showing my face. But I think I know what the reason is. It's because on here, I know that I am a stranger at the end of the day. It's also really triggering talking to the vast, wide net. I can't see faces. I can't see your expression. Usually when I'm talking to someone, I can see a little bit of what they might be thinking, and I can kind of feed off the vibes. The vibes are empty, therefore I feel empty. You know, I might write something and approach this as if I'm talking to my family or my friends. I think my nieces and nephews make me feel the most comfortable. Whenever I do talk to different people, I customize the conversation. It's not the same for everybody. Like, the topics that I talk about are different. Usually talking about my art is very safe because since 2018, like the art has always and will always probably be wholesome until like I just have a breakthrough, I guess, and something happens. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. Now, with my reading, I fell in love with reading in 2025. I'm naturally very rebellious. So when the whole thing about banned books started, something in me switched and I understood. I need to understand the feeling of the people that be reading after class and like they just pick up a book. I want to know that privilege. I want to know what that feels like. Well, 2025, I've been reading and I read without being forced. Out of my own free will, I read 17 books. Probably more, but I'm gonna say, to be safe, 17. And I felt proud of myself before, but this is a different type of proud. I'm conflicted a little bit because in August of 2025, I turned 30. And even though, like I said, I've always want to be wholesome because I want to be general, I'm also a happily growing adult, and I don't want to hold myself back and not talk about the books that I'm really enjoying. What happened when it came to art, before I would just dip and consume anything that I could, whether it was good or bad. I just wanted to learn. And the same thing is happening with books. I just want to dive in. I am picky. Like, I want to make sure that I'm enjoying what I'm reading, but I don't want to be sort of like judge myself too much or think that something is too brutal, even though a lot of the things are going to be triggering, and a lot of these books are only appropriate if you are 21 years old and so on. I don't want to send a weird message, you know, like, so I don't want to confuse anyone when my drawings are wholesome, but my books that I pick are very all over the place, and they're very much adult, like they're R-rated, or they're like full of trigger warnings, or very serious. Like, I don't want to judge myself. I just want to do the things that I want to do. This is my plan. I'm gonna have draw with me days where you can just tune in if you're not interested in the books and you are not in your 20s yet, you're not an adult, you can tune in. But if you're not an adult, please do not watch my reading videos, please, or like do not read the things that I'm picking, because even I am going into this unaware, really. Like, I don't want to spoil a book for myself, and I don't want to know too much either. I just want to make sure that I read the first few pages, and then I actually enjoy it, and I don't want to be pulled back from the book. That's how I picked the books for this year in 2026. I'm just going with it. In 2025, I went through 500 plus books. The entire year I was sampling and figuring this out because I wanted to do this. I also want to stay consistent, and I came up with a plan. 2 books every month in 2026. The first book is going to be smaller, and the way it's going to work is on the first of every month, I'm going to start at the smaller book, and when I finish early, I can continue the other book. But they're both manageable, I think. And then every 15th, so the 15th and the 1st, I'm gonna pick a book. Hope that makes sense and I'm not over explaining it to you. But I tend to over explain things when I'm nervous or when I think that people don't understand me, like right now. So anyways, I made a list of 2 books for every month of 2026, except for March. March is a little bit different. It is the only month in 2026 that I have 3 books, but I'm going to explain to you why. There's 2 new books to the Hunger Games trilogy that were added recently, and there's movies that came out as well. I want to read the entire series before I go on to watch the 2 new movies. And to do that, I need to prepare. March is a trilogy. I'm deciding to do 10 days per book in the trilogy. Then in April, I'm gonna read the 2 new books in order. With that being said, today is not a drawing day. Today is only 21 plus. And I'm going to go through the list of what I'm going to be reading this year, okay? For the first month, starting today, January of 2026, with 269 pages. It is this book called First Lie Wins. It is a thriller, I believe. The only thing I know so far is that there's this couple, and the girl is not who she says she is. Sounds interesting. We'll see. For the second book of January, on the 15th, with 476 pages, I'm going to be reading Project Hail Mary. This is a sci-fi book. It is about, I think there's a new movie that's gonna come out this year as well. That's why I want to read this early, because I think it's coming out somewhere in April. It's Ryan Gosling, and he's an astronaut. Not really an astronaut, but like he's like the last survivor of Earth, something like that. And he wakes up in the middle of nowhere in space. So it sounds really cool. It sounds really, really good. For February, these are very much adult trigger warnings, like very, very messed up books, okay? The first one is a little more tame with 301 pages. It's called Butcher and Blackbird. I think it's like a criminal serial killer couple. Don't ask me, okay? Now the second book of February with 630 pages. It is called the Mindf series, books 1 through 5. But if you want to replace the books, you can do whatever books you want to do. This is just what I'm doing. And depending on what edition you do, like hardcover, softcover, ebook, audiobook, whatever, the pages are different and they vary, but overall this is the right amount of pages that I will be reading. So in March, it is the Hunger Games trilogy. So the first Hunger Games is 374 pages, in case you want to know. The second one is 391 pages, and the last one, Mockingjay, is 390 pages. And in total is 1,155 pages. Not bad. For April, this is what I'm really excited about. So for the first book of April, 420 pages, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. For the second book of April, it is 382 pages. It's called Sunrise at the Reaping. Is this? Yeah, it's the one. For May, okay, the month of May, I am going to be reading a 366 page memoir. It's called Nobody's Girl. It's one of Epstein's victims. Yeah. It's about human trafficking and other things. Pretty intense, I'll say. Pretty intense. So for the second book of May, I am so excited about this one. It is 369 pages. It's called Chain Gang All Stars. If prisoners had live battles competing for their freedom. It's like pay-per-view type of thing. I'm not too like I said, I don't want to spoil my books. Then June, I am going to be reading another thriller ish. It's really small. It's 179 pages and it's called My Husband. And then the second book of June, it's 338 pages. And this one's, I think, appropriate for anyone as long as you're a teenager. It's a romance. 238 pages and it's called Better Than the Movies. June. For July, a very small book in the beginning with only 100 pages, but that's because the next book coming up is bigger, like a lot bigger. So yeah, it's 100 pages and it's called Comfort Me with Apples. It's 770 pages for the second book of July, King of Ashes. That one as well, I'm really excited about. I'm excited about all of these. I sorted through so many books, so yeah. Let's see. For August of 2026, a 352 page book. It's called Maybe in Another Life. And then the second book of August, it is 496 pages. It is called The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. In September, the first book of September is 303 pages and it's called The Wedding People. I don't know. So the second book of September, it is 489 pages and it's called Bear Town. Really looking forward to. I think something happens in the town where nothing ever happens, like where nothing bad ever happens. And The Wedding People is just really popular. So for October, the first book for spooky season that I'm going to be reading is 220 pages. It's called Incidents Around the House. And this one it's told from like a little kid's perspective. For the second book of October, it's 303 pages and it's called The Quiet Tenant. So supposedly it's, to not give too much away, a guy that seems incredibly normal has kidnapped a girl. Yeah, I don't know what to do. So for November, okay, we're closing into the year. The first book is 235 pages. It's called Recursion. It's sci-fi and it's time warping. It's giving Mandela effect. The reason why I'm reading Recursion though is because in 2025, my favorite book that I think came out of 2025 is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and this is another one of his books called Recursion by Blake Crouch. And so I was like, okay, I want to finish the year with a book that at least one book that I know for sure that I will like from an author that I already love. That was my favorite book of 2025. Dark Matter, 10 out of 10. Well, let's see, the second book of November, it is called Unwind and it is 322 pages. Not bad, not bad. Now for December, I want to finish the year with a duology. And out of all of the duologies that I read or sampled, this is the only duology that I couldn't stop myself from reading. I needed to like pull myself out because I was like, no, I need to savor this. I need to save this. And it is 336 pages for the first book. It's called One Dark Window. And the second book of the duology is 362 pages. It's called Two Twisted Crowns. So like kind of the same amount of pages. Thank God I did that. Oh, my body is getting used to it. I still don't know. It feels like a cold plunge. Like I know the next time I show up on here and I do like a drawing video, which I think that's what I'm doing next, or something similar, something more relaxed, it won't be as scary. Hopefully it won't be as intimidating as it is right now. But I am glad that I did it. We'll see. I have a really nice vision of what I want to do, but a horribly rough plan. And the only way that this plan and this vision can come together and like become crystallized in reality is if I do repetitions. You know, I do the same thing over and over again and I learn from it. I can't just think about it. I can't just dream of it. I can't just like imagine that it's gonna go well or practice it in private. Like I can't. I physically have to show up and do the thing. And there's nothing scarier than that, because that means commitment. That means like at some point in 10 years, I'm going to look back and there's a lot of things that I'm going to be like, well, I don't like that. I changed my mind. But then again, it's like all these hobbies that I have, I'm like, I'm going to do them anyway. But it's so boring not having at least one person that is sort of doing the same thing that I'm doing. Who knows, like I feel like maybe they also are thinking like, man, I always see these comments and everywhere online. It's like, man, I wish I could talk to someone about this. They're very nice, warm communities. I'm a member of that community, so it's like I'm nice and I'm warm, so I feel like I want to give that a chance and hopefully you like it. And like I said, just be mindful of the stuff you consume. I will try to be as appropriate as possible, but I don't want to, if I'm always gonna be censoring myself or being too careful of everything. Like I'm already as a careful person. You know what I mean? Anyways, thank you so much. My name is Hugh Clouds, and yes, there's a meaning to it, but I'll talk about it later. Thank you. Peace.